Hi, I'm Nikki from Find Me Crafting. Today I have a tutorial to show you how to make the perfect baby bib. What makes it perfect, you might say? Well, one of the great things about it is that you use any 100% cotton print that you want. So you can pick anything that you think is super cute. And there's a piece of flannel in the middle to absorb any spills, and the back feels like fabric, but is waterproof. So no matter what, those tiny tots are not getting wet. So you can make one or two to go with an outfit, or heck, make a whole pile so they have one that matches every outfit. Come on, I'll show you how. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any patterns or projects.
So here's what you're going to need for the bibs. You need to print out the free pattern. This is available at nanacompany.typepad.com. I'll put the link down in the description box down below. It prints on 2 pages. So I'm going to show you how to attach it and add a seam allowance so it looks more like this. I'll do that in just a minute though. You also need fabrics, cotton fabrics. These are 100% cotton fabrics in cute patterns, whatever you want. I bought about 1/3 of a yard for each one of my fabrics. You're also going to need flannel. This is the fabric that goes in the middle of your bib and it absorbs any of the liquid that gets spilled on the front of the bib. I always buy white just because then I know it won't show through my front fabric, my cotton fabric, but you really could go with any color you want. And you really only need about 1/3 of a yard. If you're making 1 to probably 2 bibs, you could get out of that. I bought more because I'm making quite a few. You're also going to need some polyurethane laminate fabric. This is typically used for cloth diapers or cloth diaper covers, and it's fabric on one side, and then on the back side, it's kind of this shiny waterproof material. That's what this is, so that this is going to go on the back. I'm going to put the fabric side toward the bib part that will be facing the child, and this waterproof section is going to go in the center so that any liquid doesn't seep through and make Junior wet. You're going to need a fabric marker. You're going to need some fabric scissors. You need some coordinating or matching sewing thread. You can use pretty much any kind. You can use just the all-purpose kind or polyester, whatever. It doesn't really make a difference. You need some sewing pins. There's my cute little pin cushion. You're also going to need something to attach the bib at the top. I'm going to be using size 20 plastic snaps. So these are Dritz brand plastic snaps. These are cam snaps in colors that I had that will match some of my fabrics. You can also use Velcro, but I did find that when my kids were young, when I used Velcro, it tended to catch on their hair sometimes. So I prefer the snaps. If you're going to go with snaps, you can use a handheld press, of course. I'm going to be using a cam snap table press, which I really, really love. So if you're on the fence about buying one of those, I highly recommend it if you do any snaps or rivets or anything. You're also going to need an iron and a sewing machine. So before you can use the pattern, because it prints out like this, you need to do a little bit of work to add a seam allowance to it and cut it out. So the first step after you've printed it, I print on cardstock, so it's stiffer, it's going to hold up a little bit better. I cut along one of these dashed lines. And once you have this, I'm just going to tape it right here to the other dashed line. It matches up perfectly, just like this. And I'm going to tape it in place. Okay, so at this point you have it taped in place, but you do need to add a seam allowance so that it's this size once you sew it, because with a seam allowance it will narrow that a bit. So an easy way to do this, a really kind of fun easy way to do this, is you haven't cut it yet, so you still have this excess on the outside, and you tape 2 pencils together like this, and then you're just going to start anywhere on your pattern, and you're going to put 1 pencil down on the line and the other one will just naturally be right next to it, and then without making it look drunk, you are going to just trace the line just like this. And this adds 1/4 of an inch. Mine's a little wonky, but once you get all the right way around, you're just going to cut out your pattern just like I did before. This is the one I already had. It's So we're going to start by making a fabric sandwich situation here. And first we're going to use our pull fabric, the polyurethane, laminate, there I said it. The shiny side goes down. So I'm just going to line that up here. And then next we want our pretty cotton fabric, and that should go pretty side down so that you have the fabric side of the pull is facing up and the back side of the cotton is facing up. So you're putting rights to rights basically. And I'm just going to line those up. And then on top, we're going to put the flannel. So here's the flannel. I mean, I guess the fuzzy side would go inward if there really is a right side to that. And you just make this little sandwich situation. I'm going to put my pattern on top, and I'm going to use a fabric marker to trace around the outside of it with my seam allowance. And if anybody knows of a fabric marker that doesn't dry out after the first day in use, please let me know, because I swear I have trouble with those. So I ended up going around it in the blue because the purple was dried out. So once you have this part done, I'm going to pin all 3 layers together inside my markings. So just place pins all over inside the bib area itself. So I'm going to use my fabric scissors to cut it out. I find it easier since I have all this extra fabric because I'm planning on making multiples. I'm going to cut off the excess. Makes it a little easier to work with. And now I'm just going to cut this out along the blue line. So once you get it all cut out, you're going to want to mark off a section right here on the pattern. It shows you right here about 2.5 inches at the bottom that you are not going to sew right now. That's how you're going to turn it right side out. So if you want to, you can lay this on top. You can mark it with a fabric marker. You can put a pin in there right where the lines are. However you want to remind yourself not to sew that area. I'm just going to draw a couple of quick lines just like that. So I know that that's the part I leave open. Now you're just going to take it to your sewing machine and you're going to sew it at 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to start right here, just past, you can see those are my lines. I'm going to start just past that blue line and I'm going to sew at 1/4 of an inch all the way around the bib. You just turn as you go slowly so you can get around these corners, not corners. Yeah, corners. Around, yeah, corners. When I get to the neck pieces, these little narrow pieces, I just go kind of slow and just keep turning as you're sewing. And just go slow and then make it around. If your flannel bunches up on you at all, it tends to do that when I'm working with it at least. I'll stop, lift up my foot and kind of smooth it out. And just keep going. When you get back around to your second marking area, my little blue marker is what I got there. Just stop there, back stitch, and you're done with this part. Now you can take your pins out. And if you find any stray threads that you forgot to cut, you're going to want to cut those. And now through the opening that you left in the bottom, you're going to flip it right side out. So you just kind of roll it, push with your fingers so that what was on the inside is now on the outside. Once I get a majority of it flipped out, I like to use this stick. This came in a bag of polyfill, and you can use a pencil, you can use a chopstick, whatever you want. But I use it to push out corners and small pieces of fabric like the little straps here. I want to push it so that everything is right side out. So see how that corner just came popping out. Once you get it flipped completely right sides out, I'm going to take this over to my ironing board and iron it. Okay, I'm going to iron it on the cotton side. You want to avoid ironing it on this polyurethane pull stuff because it'll melt it. So you got to be a little bit careful. But you want to iron your seams down so that they're flatter. And now you're going to want to turn this part that is unsewn into the inside. So here's the inside of it. And I'm going to just roll it so it's even with where my seam is, where the rest of it is. I'm going to roll that part too so that it's all even, and I'm going to just clip that in place. I want it to look somewhat rounded, which is a little bit trickier, but like this, and then I'm going to clip it. I did come back to my sewing machine. I changed out my top thread so that it matches this a little because you're going to see this next part. And now I'm going to start just in front of where I've marked that. I'm going to close this opening and top stitch all the way around, which just means close to the edge, about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. I'm going to sew. Start and back stitch. Once again, when you get to these straps, you just have to slow down a bit and turn as you go. Just go slow and turn, 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 turn.
If you're using plastic snaps, get all your pieces ready to go. For both the male and female sides of the snaps, you will need a cap, which is the one with the pointy piece in the middle. You will also need one male piece, which looks like an outie belly button, and one female piece, which looks like an innie belly button. Let's start with the male side and get the cam snap press ready. Place the adapter base into the press. Screw the male snap die into the press. This is the one that resembles an innie belly button, the reverse of the actual snap piece itself. I put the male snap portion on the left side of the bib. Use a handheld awl to punch a hole through all 3 layers of fabric on the left strap. From the back side of the bib, insert the pointy cap piece into the hole you just made until it is all the way through all 3 layers of fabric. Now on the front of the bib, place the male, the outie belly button looking one, onto the part of the cap that's sticking out. Carefully place the cap into the press so that it sits flat. Press down hard on the press handle. I put all my weight into it and lean on that handle. Now carefully remove your item from the press. Now it's time for the female side of the snap. Unscrew the male die from the press and screw in the female die, which looks like an outie belly button, once again in reverse of this piece of the snap itself. Use an awl to punch a hole through all 3 layers of fabric on the right strap. From the front side of the bib, insert the pointy cap piece into the hole you just made until it's all the way through the layers of fabric. Now on the back of the bib, place the female innie belly button looking one onto the part of the cap that's sticking out. Carefully place the cap into the press so it sits flat and press down hard on that handle. Really lean into it. And when you're done, carefully remove your item from the press. Once you get started, it's hard to stop making these adorable bibs. And just look at how cute they are on. The adorable factor may go up exponentially if you have someone extra adorable to model them for you. Happy crafting!